I want to welcome everyone this morning to a beautiful day. And as requested, it turned out the way that we had dreamed of. But for those who don't know, I am Chief James Hicks of the Natick Police Department. And it's truly my pleasure to welcome you to the 14th Annual Natick Peace Officer Memorial Ceremony. I would ask everyone to please stand for the presentation of the colors and remain standing for our national anthem to be followed by the invocation. I would like now to invite the Reverend Ian Meverock of the Common Street Community Church to deliver the invocation.
Thank you, Chief Hicks. The good Lord has indeed blessed us with a beautiful day today on which to celebrate this occasion. I invite you to join me in an attitude of prayer. Gracious and loving God, creator of all things, source of truth, and originator of all faiths, we call upon you on this day as we remember and honor the men and women of the Natick Police Department, past and present, who serve our community with dignity, professionalism, and intelligence. We have gratitude in our hearts for these remarkable men and women and their excellent service, and we are glad to express this gratitude in the presence of God and this gathered community. Hear now these prayers, O faithful God. May the men and women of our police department continue to serve as instruments of your peace. May they be trustworthy and trusted. May they be guided not only by human law, but also by the divine law of conscience and sacred scripture. May they do justice, love kindness, and walk humbly with their God. And may you bless them, protect them, and make them successful in all that they undertake. And may all the people say together, Amen.
Please be seated.
Detail. Order. Move. Parade. First.
It is at this time I would like to acknowledge and welcome some of our guests and elected officials who are in attendance this morning. First, I see Representative Linsky, who's good friend and true companion to the town of Natick. Welcome this morning. Senator Ross, who's here this morning. Senator Richard Ross is here with us this morning. District Attorney Marion Ryan. Let me say at the beginning, if I miss you, I apologize. I'm scanning the crowd and writing them down as I see you. Also wanted to welcome Lieutenant Colonel Brian Grader from Natick Soldier Systems Lab. He snuck in here on me, but thank you for coming. Appreciate it. Also from our Board of Selectmen Chairman Josh Ostroff, who will be speaking earlier. I saw also, I see Selectman John Conley out there. I see him. Welcome. Also, of course, I cannot go on without recognizing retired Chief John Arena. Thank you for coming. Again, supporting the organization. Town Administrator Martha White is here this morning. Superintendent of Schools, I saw him back there. Did he come up front? Is he still sneak? Oh, there he is. Peter Sanchione. Dr. Sanchione, thank you for attending. Also see our Director of Personnel, Richard Transfalia. He sneaks up in the back there also. Our new Deputy Town Administrator for Finance, Jeff Town. I see you back there next to Richard. Welcome. You're first. Also see a Deputy Director for DPW, Tom Collins, always a good supporter of this agency and the work that we do. I'm getting pointed. I see also our Health Director, Jim White, and also our Town Clerk there, Diane Packer. Thank you for being here. I see Paul Carew, another good friend of the department, our Veterans Agents. Thank you, Paul. Glad you can make it. Also have Jimma Lambert, who's here. I think Jimma, is this your first one, Jimma? Thank you. Welcome. Don't worry, I'm coming to him. Also, I see, is that Chief Shaw over there? Yes. Chief Shaw from the Western Police Department, hiding underneath the tree. Steve, thanks for coming. Also from the the Mass chapter of Concerns of Police Survivors, Susan Fitzsimmons. Susan, thank you. I believe Kim McCarthy's here also. Did she arrive? Kim McCarthy also. And finally, and last but not least, and again, I apologize if I miss you, is Acting Fire Chief Rick White, who's been very supportive of this event and his organization. Thank you for being here today. At this time, I'd like to invite Mr. Josh Ostroff, Chairman of the Natick Board of Selectmen, to deliver the greetings from the town.
Thank you, Chief. On behalf of the town of Natick and the Board of Selectmen, myself, Vice Chair Charlie Hughes, Clerk Chief Nick Mabarty, Rick Jeanette, and John Connolly, welcome to the Peace Officers Memorial for 2014. It's an honor to represent the community, which is so well supported by law enforcement. Public safety is the bedrock on which we as a people, as a community, can thrive, can reach our highest aspirations. Without a sense of safety and security, knowing that the police are there for us to help prevent a tragedy, we cannot achieve that which may be our destiny. So it's my honor to welcome you to the town, to thank the folks from law enforcement, from surrounding communities, from statewide, from Middlesex County, showing their support. And for the message of today, whether a policeman or a woman is lost in the line of duty or at the end of a long and fruitful life, their service should be recognized and honored. And it's a pleasure and honor to join you today. Thank you.
The following is a proclamation by the President of the United States. For each year, America sets aside a week to salute the men and women who do the difficult, dangerous, and often thankless work of safeguarding our communities. Our nation's peace officers embody the very idea of citizenship. That, along with our rights, come responsibilities, both to ourselves and to others. During Peace Officer Memorial Day and Police Week, we celebrate those who protect and serve us every minute of every day, and we honor the courageous officers who devoted themselves so fully to others that in the process they laid down their lives. As we mourn the fallen, let us also remember how they lived. With unflinching commitment, they defended our schools and businesses. They guarded prisons, patrolled borders, and kept us safe at home, on the road, and as we went about our lives. To their families, we owe an unpayable debt. And to the men and women who carry their mission forward, we owe our unyielding support. Our nation has an obligation to ensure that as police officers face untold risks in the line of duty, we are doing whatever we can to protect them. This means providing all necessary resources so they can get the job done, hiring new officers where they are needed most, and investing in training to prepare those on the front lines for potentially deadly situations. It also means making reforms to curb senseless epidemics of violence that threaten law enforcement officers and haunt the neighborhoods they serve. Just as police officers never let down their guard, we must never let slide our gratitude. We should extend our thanks not only in times of tragedy, but for every tragedy averted, every accident avoided because of a patrol officer took a drunk driver off the streets, every child made safer because a criminal was brought to justice, every life saved because police officers raced to the scene. In other words, we must show our gratitude every day. By a joint resolution approved October 1st, 1962 as amended, and by public law as amended, the President has been authorized and requested to designate May 15th of each year as Peace Officers Memorial Day, and the week at which it falls as Police Week. Now, therefore, I, Barack Obama, President of the United States of America, do hereby proclaim May 15, 2014 as Peace Officers Memorial Day, and May 11th through May 17, 2014 as Police Week. I call upon all Americans to observe these events with appropriate ceremonies and activities. And witness hereof, I hereunto set on my hand this 9th day of May, in the year of our Lord 2014, and of the independence of the United States of America, 238. Last week, thousands of police officers, including many from the Natick Police Department, traveled to Washington, D.C. to recognize and honor the 286 officers killed in the line of duty in 2013. This year, 2 names were added from Massachusetts: Officer John Lynch of the Boston Police Department and Officer Sean Collier of the MIT Police Department. The death of an officer so close to home makes you pause and think about the difficult task that all law enforcement officers encounter each day, not knowing what they will face. Whether it's Officer Collier protecting a small college campus, or Officer Arkell from the Brentwood, New Hampshire Police Department responding to what seems to be a simple domestic, there's proof that danger lurks everywhere, and that officers respond knowing that that call may be their last. It is this reason that for the past 14 years, the Natick Police Department in the town of Natick has chosen to embrace the invitation from President Kennedy to observe Peace Officers Memorial Day and Police Week in each year with appropriate ceremonies, in which all people may join in commemorating law enforcement officers, past and present, who by their faithful and loyal devotion to their responsibilities have rendered a dedicated service to their communities, and in so doing, have established for themselves an enviable and enduring reputation for preserving the rights and security of all citizens. We especially use this ceremony to honor the service of those retired members that have served the residents of Natick well, and remembering those Natick police officers that have passed away, reading their names each year to ensure that they will never be forgotten. It is at this time I am honored to introduce our guest speaker for today. Colonel Timothy Albin was appointed to the Massachusetts State Police on December 6, 1982. Upon graduation from the State Police Academy, he was assigned to Troop B in Western Massachusetts, or like we like to joke, Eastern New York. In 1987, he transferred to the offices of Hampden County District Attorney's Office, where he investigated homicides, child abuse, violent and white-collar crimes. In 1990, he transferred to the Organized Crime Unit, where he was promoted to sergeant and then lieutenant. Upon promotion to captain in 2004, he was assigned back to the Division of Field Services and Tactical Operations, where he directed security and crowd control for the 2004 Democratic National Convention. Can you believe 10 years has passed? He continued to rise through the ranks of the Massachusetts State Police, finally being appointed by Governor Deval Patrick to the position of Colonel Superintendent on July 13, 2012. Colonel Albin has demonstrated his leadership and dedication to a team approach to law enforcement. These characteristics were put on full display as he worked with other law enforcement leaders in the apprehension and capture of the final marathon bomber. The best demonstration of his philosophy of law enforcement as a team is his reaction when I called to ask him to speak today. His immediate response was to thank me for asking him, and that he was honored to do so. He is a true leader, a true friend, and I'm glad he accepted our invitation to speak at our memorial service. Ladies and gentlemen, Colonel Timothy Albin.
Well, that was very generous, Chief. I appreciate that. And 10 years has gone by rather quickly. To all our distinguished visitors, elected officials, and citizens here in Natick, when I thought, after Jim invited me, of what I wanted to talk about and the week that we've been through with the Memorial in Washington and National Law Enforcement Officers Week, I wanted to share with you something personal. I wanted to share with you what it's like on the inside when you lose someone in your department, and how shattering that can be to families and to coworkers alike. But also I want to talk about the great resiliency of the human spirit and how families go on. So in 2010, I was the commander of our field services, all of our uniformed troopers throughout the state. I had a classmate named Doug Weddleton. We graduated together in 83 actually, from the State Police Academy, 31 years ago last week. So in June of 2010, one evening, June 18th, I get this call. Doug's been struck down at Route 95 and 495 in Rentham. Now let me give you a little bit of the backdrop on Doug and where he had been and where he had been in his life and really for the last 24 hours. Doug was a dad, he was a husband. He had 4 sons, Mark and Matthew, Ross, and Stephen. They were all either in high school, one was out of high school, one had just actually graduated from middle school the Friday evening that this occurred. And Doug and his family had gone to this 8th grade graduation. They had celebrated, returned back to their home in Brockton. And then because he had a family of 4 sons that were of college age, Doug went out to work an overnight construction detail right at 95 and 495. And as unfortunate as it was, Doug was struck by an alleged drunk driver and dragged across the highway and gave his life in the line of duty. And so what happens inside agencies like this is the calls go out to leaders and command staff people. Now, I live in Western Massachusetts. Brockton is a long way from my home. But we all congregated in downtown Brockton, prepared to go and deliver this news to his family. And for police officers, to each one of the men and women that are here today, it's not an uncommon occurrence when you have to go and deliver this kind of news. It's part of the job. It's what you do. But when you do it with your own department, with somebody that you know, somebody where it's personal, it's an entirely different experience. So Colonel McGovern and Colonel Matthews, myself, Major Tom Grenham, we were escorted over to his home, 3 o'clock in the morning. Beautiful spring day like it would be now. It was dark, and the silence was almost riveting. We walked across the grass front yard, walked up to that door, and what I remember so crisply is the doorbell that was illuminated. And in knowing that with the press of that doorbell, we were about to change the lives of 5 people and more forever. And you stop at moments like that and you think, if we can just preserve this moment. They're asleep. They're happy. To them, their dad is still a part of their life. And it's all going to change in a matter of seconds. And it did. And so we spent the next several days and the next weeks, and we spend even today with his wife Judy and his sons. They remain part of our family. That's the way it is in our business. But if I can fast forward for a moment to 2 weeks ago, we had a graduation of our 81st recruit training troop, 31 years later. 31 years after Doug and I walked down that aisle and swore to uphold the law and had that badge pinned right on our chest. And we invited Judy and the boys back on this special, special occasion. And so Judy came up to the reception room before the exercises began. And I said to her, do you remember our day 31 years ago? Do you remember our graduation when Doug was there, when I was there? We were outside right here at Framingham. And she said, I relive it every day. She said, did you know I was pregnant with Stephen at that graduation? And I said, Judy, I had no idea. I really didn't know her at that time. Well, Stephen Weddleton was a graduate of the 81st Recruit Training Troop 2 weeks ago. Can you imagine that? You see, that's who these folks are. Why would you come back to this business? What draws you back into this life? to this service. I like to say it's about the ability to make a difference. It's about to change lives in large and small ways. I tell young troopers this every single day. I told the 81st Recruit Training Troop that it might be as simple as helping someone on the side of the road or with directions out here on the street, or someone who is in a life or death situation. It's what draws these men and women to this profession. It's what brought Stephen Weddleton, who gave up his dad, and Judy, who gave up her husband, back into this world of law enforcement that we love so much. And so we start another career, another chapter. And Stephen will go on to have a long and productive one with the memory of his dad as a guiding light. Sacrifice, resiliency. And you know, tonight, we're going to go up to Exeter, New Hampshire to celebrate the memory of Officer Arkell, who gave his life just last week. Again, for the sake of safety in his community, about answering the call, about me being a difference maker when he needed to. I want to thank all of my brothers and sisters in blue here today for their service. I want to thank each and every one of you for your support. What they do is so incredibly important to your communities, to this state, and to the security of this country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tim. I would now like to invite Officer Christopher DeMonica, Natick Police Department 2013 Officer of the Year, to lay the memorial wreath at the Natick Police Memorial Stone.
Detail. Up and hoop.
Please stand. Please remain standing for the rifle volley, the playing of taps, followed by the singing of God Bless America. Excuse me, I skipped something here, very important. I now like to invite Officer James Quilty to the podium to call the roll of Natick police officers that have passed away.
(1921) Charles W. Matthews, in the line of duty. 1933, John Walsh, Bernard S. McDonald. 1934, Charles Brady, Patrick A. Whalen. 1936, Edward J. Barnacle. 1940, James A. McCormick. 1941, Edward J. Murphy. 1945, Peter J. Nyland. 1947, James B. Sweeney. 1950, David J. Church, Chief Thomas P. Evans, Martin J. Fair. 1952, Frank A. Roberts. 1954, William J. Hogan. 1959, John F. Topham. 1963, Edward Barnacle. 1966, James P. Farrell, John F. Heffernan. 1968, Edward W. Burke. 1970, Charles L. Matthews. 1972, John L. Flynn. 1973, Rodney Fraser, William J. Garvey, William H. Kane. 1976, Ray C. Tanner. 1977, Leo R. Woodrow. 1980, Edward F. Cadlick, Wallace E. Montgomery. 1990, George F. Barnacle, Robert B. Hart. 1991, John C. Conway, David D. Holland, Robert L. Jennings, George B. Scott. 1993, Wesley L. Orcutt, John J. Quilty, Jr. 1995, Richard H. Keene. 1996, George F. Roberts. 1997, Francis M. Keene. 2000, Ralph E. Higgins. 2002, Romeo P. DeFazio, Robert W. Ryan. 2003, Harold J. Beret. 2004, Edward J. Dealey, Edward R. White. 2005, Henry M. Hutchinson, Edward F. Krupski, W. Joseph Shea. 2006, William E. Moores. 2007, Joseph M. Connolly. 2008, Walter L. Burke, George L. Hanna, Robert N. Ritchie. 2009, Thomas J. McAvoy, Anthony A. Melchiori. 2010, Edward J. Bradford, Richard A. Cashman, James A. Clover, Robert L. Davis, Sr., Daniel L. O'Callahan, Sr. 2012, William T. Maloon, Jr., Jeffrey E. Longtime, Richard J. Fair, Sr. 2013, John W. Doherty, Sr., Francis E. Martin, and Ralph Mastro.
Thank you, Officer Quilty. Now, please remain standing for the rifle volley, the playing of taps, and the singing of God Bless America.
Detail. Right shoulder. Hoot. Rifle unit. Fire 3 volleys. Detail. Order. Right shoulder. Move.
This brings us to the conclusion of our ceremony. I want to thank you for attending our Peace Officers Memorial Ceremony and helping us to adhere to President Kennedy's proclamation to join in commemorating law enforcement officers. With any event, there's a lot of help that goes into it, and there's a number of people I would like to recognize, and I ask you to look at your brochure as I will run through them. First of all, our singers from the Natick High School choral group led by Tyler Turner did a nice job today. Thank you very much. Our bugler, Darrell Robbins. For the sound, all things audio, Joe Izzo. All our visiting honor guards, thank you very much for coming today. Our Natick Police Rifle Unit and Honor Guard. And our Natick Police Flag Detail for their work today. Our Natick Police Auxiliary, who as usual is behind the scene holding back the traffic as we speak. I want to thank them for the work that they do. Our Natick Public Schools standard bearers, and they're all around, who helped hand out the brochures and things this morning. Thank you for coming out and helping us this morning. Can't forget always, each year, Gail Boyd from Rico Copy Center here in town. She does an excellent job for us and helps tremendously. Thank you, Gail. Our Natick facilities and DPW who help set up and keep the grounds very clean and ready for us. I thank both of you for your work that you've done. I thanked earlier Acting Fire Chief Rick White, but also the entire department for not only hosting us this morning, but also the support you give us every day. Thank you very much. Natick Pegasus for being here always to record this for us. And also my support staff and the support staff from the police department who's out here, Mary Connie, Joyce Rose, Mr. Ed Raddick, I saw him out here, and especially my executive assistant, Mary Lee Watkins, who runs around like crazy, especially for the last 24 hours. Thank you very much. And finally, I'd like to thank the officer of the day, Lieutenant Retired Paul Thompson, who for his last time here will be led us today and led us through, and he graciously volunteered to come back after retirement and lead us here today. Lieutenant Paul Thompson, thank you very much for your service today and for the service you've given to this town. I would like to ask you to remain standing as the colors are dismissed. Following, I invite everyone to join us for a brief collation hosted by the Natick Fire Department in the Fire Bay doors next door. Also today, for the last time, please dismiss your units.